On June 6, 1989, these men were each sentenced to death 5 times. They escaped hanging, though. Upon appeal, the death sentences were changed to lengthy prison terms. Now the Mdantsane 12 have a second chance. In East London this week, they pleaded for amnesty on the grounds that their gruesome deed was politically motivated. In their affidavits, they claim that in 1986, Mdantsane Township began to endure a reign of terror from a group calling themselves the Killer Boys.
You say that during this period, that's during the 80s, mid-80s, both Ciskei and South African military and police forces were losing control of the situation, and they showed using irregular forces and thugs as their covert agents to destabilize these communities and their committee. Where did you get that information from? What led you to believe that as being a matter of fact?
What happened is that in that time, when these things were happening, we knew that the police did not want anything that had to do with political uprising. The uprising defeated them, and they used gangsters.
Yes. How did you know that?
A lot of things happened in Mdantsane that we saw them happening. Since 1981, up until 1989, there was never any order in the Ciskei. The police used to use people to do dirty things to people, particularly people who were involved in the uprising against apartheid. And since 1981, when Sebe was in power, until 1989, there were people who were gangsters who were living at the section. But what happened was that somebody would be found dead, somebody would be raped. When we would go and report it, they wouldn't pay any attention to it. And we realized that there is some kind of involvement between the police and the gangsters.
The police were not doing their job, so the street committee, a de facto self-defense unit, took the law into its hands. In February 1987, Bonakele Jwambi, an ANC supporter, was stabbed to death by the Killer Boys. A day later, 4 of its members were abducted and burnt to death at a scrapyard on the outskirts of the location.
The killing of these Killer Boys merely a revenge killing in respect of the murder of Mr. Jwamba, which took place at 11:06.
I could not say that it was revenge, because these Killer Boys, I would say that was the last thing that we did, because things had been happening for a long time and they were being ignored and people were not being arrested, and what happened with Mkhusele was the last thing, the final straw. Our intentions were to take these people and hit them. And that happened. But while we were beating them, we found that while this thing was happening, the people were very angry. People were singing freedom songs, and they were toy-toying as well, and there was just chaos, and you could not say that certain things should not happen, and because everyone was so angry, and people were just happy that we finally had the Killer Boys. I realized that they were going to be killed at the scene of the crime when the people were singing these freedom songs, and you'd find that when you were stopping one side, something would happen on the other side and you couldn't control the people, and people were saying things like, our sisters are being raped, and people, your family hasn't been raped, and we're being killed, and you people have never been killed. And then I found that I could not be part of it at that moment, because there were songs that were saying they should burn, they should burn, they should burn, and I